If you can afford to buy a house and can get to retirement not having a house, not having a rent to pay, then even if your pension's a bit smaller than it would have been, overall you're still potentially a lot better off. Compare that, for example, with renting in your 30s and 40s and 50s and all that kind of dead money. If that money is actually going into giving you a house with some equity and taking a cost away in retirement, we should think very carefully before saying to people, oh no, pension's the only thing that matters in saving, leave it alone.
I see what you're saying. I do believe we have this culture in the UK, very, very much so in the UK, where it's not good to rent at all. And I personally do believe it is okay to rent, especially while you're young, because it gives you flexibility. You want to stop working in London, maybe you want to move to Manchester. You can do that quite easily, whereas if you're tied to a property, you lose that flexibility. So another question, I guess, to add to that is inadequate savings. Now, we see endless reports about people simply not saving enough for retirement. And we also always say, start young and let compounding do its magic, and don't be afraid to start saving for a pension in your 20s. It's the best time to start saving for one. Now, there is a lot of fear and anxiety around whether people will be able to afford a comfortable retirement. What would you say to people if they feel like they haven't saved enough? What's the general tips around that?
Yeah. As well as starting young, I always say to people, it's never too late to start, because when you put money in a pension, often it's a workplace pension, so you're immediately getting money from the government, you're getting a tax break on the way in, you can take a quarter tax free on the way out. So even if it's only a few £1,000s, that's better than nothing. It could pay a bill, it could replace something that broke down. So even starting late, I think, is worth doing. Maxing out on what your employer will do, because many employers will do more than the legal minimum, and if you go a bit further, they'll go a bit further. And it's funny, we read about different ways of investing and the returns you can get, but if you can take £1 and make it £2 overnight because your employer's put £1 in as well, tell me where you're going to beat that.